Hello, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to this new webinar from the European Demolition Association, EDA. My name is Jose Blanco. I'm the Secretary General for the EDA, and it's my pleasure to be here today as moderator of the session, together with the speakers and panelists we have. So this session is oriented to present the guides about carriers for demolition and recycling and attachments also for demolition and recycling. So we have today the coordinators of these publications with us, and we're going to do first a short introduction to these guides, how they were produced and what they include. So first, I would like to welcome Gordon Hambach as coordinator of the guide about attachments for demolition and recycling. Please, Gordon, turn on your camera when possible, and you will introduce the guide of attachments. Thank you once again, Gordon. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you very much. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. To everybody. My name is Gordon Hambach. I'm Global Business Manager for Hydraulic Attachment Tools at EPIROC. And I was, basically, selected to be the coordinator as well. Thank you for the trust of the team regarding that. And basically, to go through the guide in general, it's basically, as we said, we're going to introduce now the attachments, the guide about attachments for demolition and recycling. And we have coordinated and put together a very comprehensive, a very interesting guide, I would say, here. And at the moment, you can find the guide on the EDA platform. You can go via the QR code. Currently, it's in English available, but further languages will follow during the session. Also, hard copies will be available at the later stage, but all this information you basically find on the European Demolition Association website. In general, what we try to achieve and what we try to put together is basically a comprehensive, a unique document where we collect basic information about attachments in the demolition and recycling industry, because we also think, the industry as such plays a very important role in the journey towards a more sustainable world to basically make the world better, remove, recycle things. So basically the target and the purpose is here of this guide to give a general overview to existing professionals, to newcomers to the industry, basically give an idea what attachment does exist, what are their basic characteristics, functionalities, other requirements, and basically what needs to be considered when running these attachments in demolition jobs. And basically we target with this one, of course, all contractors which are already in the demolition industry and end users as well, but also people that might want to enter the sector. So it's about for newcomers to get really into that, but also a certain refreshment and a good basic document for the people that are already long in the industry, but also support the national associations in this. The journey that we did was, basically we did online meetings due to obvious reasons. Due to COVID-19, we of course couldn't meet ourselves in person, so basically we had the online seminars, and of course it was not only myself. There was a whole group involved for creating this guide, and I would like to thank all the people involved that spent their time and contributed with input, with insight, to make really a common guide for the industry. There, and basically, as I said, we did this process basically over 6 months, you can say, with online webinars, and I need to say it was a very interesting journey, and I think also a very good collaboration. In general, the guide as such, includes general concepts. That means water carriers, what kind of applications they are used, couplers. Then, of course, a big segment is, of course, the type of attachments, what you do with them, specifically, what are their specific tasks on a demolition or recycling job site. But also we added insights about transportation site requirements, operational trainings that might be needed, maintenance, and of course, last but not least, also certain directive norms and standards to have there really a very, very good document where we see it's beneficial for the whole industry to have that together as a lexica to really to find easy access to information. That's it basically from my side and about the attachment guide for demolition and recycling tools. Thanks for your attention, and of course stay safe wherever you are nowadays. Thank you, Jose. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Gordon. Please do not go far because we will have you again for the roundtable. So thank you for this short introduction, and we will be open to questions from the public. In fact, we already encourage you that if you want to check the guide, just go on the link and you will be able to see it online. Next on this webinar, we're going to do a short introduction as well about the guide for carriers for demolition and recycling. In this case, it's going to be Gilles Ronnet as coordinator of the guide together with Philippe Boehrer. So Gilles, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jose, for giving us the opportunity to present today to everyone this common work concerning demolition and recycling carriers. I would like to especially thank the president of the EDA, so Mr. Francisco Cobo, who made this realization of this guide possible. Thank you. So my name is Gilles Ronnet. I am the demolition segment specialist by Caterpillar. I am one of the coordinators of this carrier guide with Philippe Boehrer from the company LIEBHERR. As you will see in the introduction of this guide, when you will get it, teamwork is what best defines the content of this guide. It is with great interest and pride that each contributor, contractors, and equipment manufacturers share their knowledge for the common good of the whole demolition and recycling network. So transmission of knowledge and know-how is part of our role and responsibilities. And the purpose of these guides is to help and train those who wish to work in demolition, whether the intention is to start a business or to use as reference, let's say. I would like to also warmly thank the team responsible for compiling this guide, including, of course, the EDA staff who helped drafting and finalizing it. So we hope this successful collaboration will help to serve our industry, the demolition and the recycling segment, so both for the attachments department and for the carrier segment too. So looking at the agenda, this will be the same format as my colleague Gordon has just presented a few minutes ago. We will follow the same, exactly the same format. This carrier guide will be made available for you now mid of May in the coming days. It's almost ready, let's say, or ready today, but will be live online very soon, today or tomorrow now. This will be an online format that you will be able to use at your discretion, let's say. Quite a heavy work if you look at the number of pages being done. So the team, all the manufacturers, contractors, end users who helped to produce this guide did a quite good job. If you look at the production of information and knowledge, you will find out in this book. So 56 pages at your disposal now by just clicking on the link on the EDA site, the europeandemolition.org/guide.carriers. So what is it? But it's quite simple for us. This guide is there for presenting the wide of carriers, so all the range of carriers designed to execute demolition. Demolition and recycling, both segments are really integrated. We cannot separate them now. It's a complete business. Demolition integrates recycling, and opposite is also valid. It's a descriptive guides, which will also give you all the explanation, all the details about the different cabins, protective systems or structures, the procedures for transporting the carriers, for loading, unloading them on-site, outside the sites, the recommendation for the good and safe operations, operator requirements, machine maintenance, so a lot of, let's say, information, really a mine of information if you want to really dive into the demolition segment and understand how it works and the requirements for achieving your task in this segment. This will be made available also online via the QR code, as just my colleague mentioned before, for the attachments guide. So what is its purpose? Its purpose is to give you a general overview of all the carriers. We try to combine all the possibilities about the different carriers. We focus, let's say here, on what we call the mechanical demolition. So using the mechanical force for dismantling constructions. So for it concerns, let's say, carriers for primary and secondary demolitions, but mainly focus on mechanical demolition, because there are different types of demolition. So mechanical is one of the different types of demolition you can find out on the market. The goal is the aim is clearly to explain the basics, characteristics of this carrier, the functionalities, general requirements, how this equipment should be managed, how to use them in safe conditions, because we will remain sometimes in difficult, let's say, conditions when demolishing, and also the regulatory framework that is applicable for the demolition segment. We want here with this guide to promote a general vision of the diversity of carriers that you can find out on the market and the main features of each one. What is the target audience? This is a copy-paste of audience concerning attachment. If you are, let's say, working with carriers, you need attachments, and the opposite too. So we will have the same, let's say, audience. It will be contractors including subcontractors, end users, national association with limited reference material, for instance, non-specialist contractors to attract them into these segments, as well as, for example, students. There is no limit. Let's say the audience is completely open and broad for everyone. And this is our goal, to open as much as possible this knowledge to everyone. How did we do? Same process. We have created a workshop with the different manufacturers. You will see the list of all the manufacturers present in this group. And we had some online meetings, 5 meetings between September last year and February this year, for compiling, analyzing, defining, and finally drafting this guide. What are you going to find out in this guide? And this is the key information here. First, you will have the general concepts of the different carriers. When we are talking about demolition, we often, let's say, refer or look at the masterpiece or the masterpieces, which are usually the high-reach demolition machines. But as you will see in this guide, and as you may know, the demolition activity, the demolition segment is requiring a lot of different carriers, not only excavators, tractor wheels, but a lot of different carriers for different applications, for different size of tools, of attachments, and for accurate applications. So really a broad spectrum of machines and a broad spectrum of attachments linked to those machines. So different type of demolition carriers. In detail, you will see those different machines. You will see also a chapter concerning the cabin protective structures for the demolition structures, that we call the FOBs, the ROPs or the TOPs. So FOBs for falling object protective structure, ROPs is for rolling over protective structure, and TOPs for tip over protective structure. So you will see the detail of these different, let's say, protections, depending if you have a static cab or a cab moving, tilting, for example, or lifting. You will see also operational procedures. You will have some information about training your people, training your personnel, and the regulatory framework, because we are, let's say, linked to a lot of standards in this segments, demolition, as manufacturers, but also the contractors. We have a lot of, let's say, constraints in terms of regulation and legislation. This is included in this guide. So again, 56 pages at your disposal that will be ready to be looked starting from now. Last information, we want, or we will also translate these guides, not only the carrier guide, but also the attachment guide in different languages. If I remember well, the EDA has 15 different members, so 15 different countries are member of the EDA organization. So translation is pending, is ongoing, and you should see the different translation in the coming weeks or months, also on the EDA website. That's it for me, Jose. If you agree, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much, Gilles. That's very kind of you. Thank you for your kind words and also for your cooperation to put together this document. Now we're going to jump to the roundtable, but before we do that, because you're not going to be in the roundtable because of technical things, any thoughts, any final comments before you go? How was the experience for you of getting this document together?
I would say extremely positive. This is quite simple. There are more knowledges in several brains than in only one. So sharing all this information, all these knowledges together, even if, of course, we are different manufacturers, but also with customers, with real customers, was an extreme satisfying, let's say, exercise for us. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Gilles.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now on the roundtable. So thank you. Well, we are now going to go to the roundtable session. So I ask our colleagues to join back again, Gordon, and I will invite Patrick Frye from the company CARDEM, who's going to join us now as a contractor on this session. So Patrick, if you can turn on your camera. There you go. And I will ask Philippe Boehrer also to connect. On the meantime, Patrick, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Frye. I'm the large project and international director of CARDEM, which is a French company. I'm here to represent, and I'll try to do my best, the contractors on the floor. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you also for your ability to join this kind of things. And here is Philippe, Philippe Boehrer from LIEBHERR. So Philippe, I invite you to introduce yourself. Please, Philippe, go ahead. I don't know if you can hear me.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm Philippe Boehrer from LIEBHERR France company, and I'm product manager for demolition machine and also for special application for excavators.
Thank you. So once again, thank you everybody for the effort. To our audience, to our colleagues that are connected to this webinar, once again, you can use the chat, which is in the right of your screen, to leave questions, comments, remarks. Just feel free. So we're going to start this roundtable. If you remember, we had a think tank in Brussels back in 2018. It was organized by EDA together with CC. And it seems like CC liked it, and our heads up, our best regards to our colleagues from CC. And they organized a similar think tank in 2019 about equipment for demolition and recycling. Out of that discussion, we shared the need to do some basic documents that basically could be the first step to develop documents that will help the contractors and will help the industry to progress forward. So I have a few questions here prepared for you, but also open to the audience. First question is the same one I asked Gilles. Gordon, Philippe, also Patrick that joined some of the meetings. How was the experience putting these documents together?
Yeah, I think like Gilles said, very interesting. Of course, you had the different manufacturers, you had the different views, you got more insights. So it was really an inspiring journey. And thankful for the EDA there again to make that happy. But I think also the output is really, it's a satisfying output that we achieved there. Also to provide something as a basis for the industry, I think.
Thank you, Gordon.
Okay, from my side, I would also say the same as Gordon or as Gilles, because it was very positive. Everybody come with his idea, and we have a very good exchange together. We speak together, and also, and every brings his knowledge, and to give the knowledge to the other people.
Any comments on your side, Patrick? You had the chance to join some of the meetings required by the manufacturers.
Yeah, well, I had a good time. I don't know if I helped much, but at least I really did have a good time, and I'm pretty proud to have taken place of on this book, because it really it's really going to be a great help for many people, I'm sure.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, maybe I see the list of participants in our audience, and we have a lot of people that we know, especially from many countries. And I'm going to address the elephant on the room, which is for a specialist contractor, maybe these guys are very basic. You know, for a highly specialized contractor, well, I would say that probably the compilation of standards and regulations is extremely good, because in 2 pages you get almost everything. But the rest of the document is very basic. We have to say to our audience that when we started these working groups, we said, look, we have to start somewhere. And if we want to develop a comprehensive document that includes all the range of equipment that we use for demolition and recycling, we have to start with something basic. Now the question to you, Patrick, but also to Gordon and to Philippe is, okay, we have the first step. What should come next? Should we focus on health and safety? Should we focus on applications? Should we focus on transporting or using the machines? You know, what, from your perspective, now that we have this first step, what should be the next?
Yeah, well, maybe good practices, you know, from one country to another. I think that'd be probably pretty interesting to see, you know, how everything is done in different countries, the state of art, you know, how they work, maybe different in the northern part or the southern part of Europe. I'm sure that could be a really great idea. And also about rules and regulations. How to have a European standard more than, you know, country by country, and of course, you know, talk about safety and the environment. Yeah, I think be a
thank you, Patrick.
Big step, but nice step.
Thank you.
And from my side, I would say it will be good to have more contractor perhaps with us when we speak about this, because we are supplier from product. We know how we produce our product. But sometimes we are not always on job side, and the contractor has many experiences on job side, and they can bring to us, I think, much idea, or perhaps to say to the supplier what we have to bring on the market to be sure to have with the norm or something which we don't know exactly, perhaps as supplier.
Gordon, from your side?
Yeah, I think of course safety is always a topic. I mean that we all know, but also what has been mentioned, like best practices, to share best practices, to see other methods, to gain overall an efficiency would be, of course, the next step. And then I agree to Philippe, of course. Then it's more like a joint thing, contractors as well as manufacturers in depth there to see really, to have shining examples of how something can be really done in a good way, in a safe way, and in an environmental friendly way.
Yeah. Thank you all for your feedback. As you know, we have done 2 parts. We are missing 1/3 part, which is how to connect the machine, the carrier, and the attachment. As you know, we started with another working group for couplers, which is the guide that we are missing. This is something that will come in the future, hopefully during this year, a guide about couplers. Any advice to the people involved on this guide? The coordinator is Peter Lamb. Any comments or tips? Or I know that some of you are also going to be in that working group.
I'd say it's a good thing because it's always complicated sometimes to know which tool weight is allowed on the machine. Do you have a quick coupler? Do you don't have a quick coupler? Which is the dimension? Which is the forces you have? What is the flow? Also, where for the tool, it's a package. The 3 things will be a package to be clear for the customer, so he has a nice view on what he can do, I would say.
And I personally think it's good that we get this link in between the carriers and the attachment, of course, also covered. I mean, from my experience now being the technical coordinator of the attachment group, I think important is always open discussion, be open-minded, and of course for the start, follow a little bit the KISS principle, have it simple and straightforward, and then take basically the next step from there. I think that would be my advice to Peter and the whole team, of course.
Thank you. Anything that you want to see on that guide, Patrick, the one about couplers?
Well, anything I want to see, I guess. Actually, it's a really big decision, you know, on the choice of the coupler you're going to use. It's really crucial because there's no going back right away. You know, it's a big investment, and of course, we need to have all our equipment to work with any kind of carriers, and so. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see, you know, what's really on the market and how everyone can work together, you know, for the manufacturers of equipment or carriers. Yeah.
And what we speak, it's very important because when you use this coupler, sometimes the more and more you go in the direction to full automatic coupler. That's mean you have also the flow and everything which can be changed. And you see that the driver, if they have a quick coupler full automatic, they chose the right tool. They don't damage the tool because they change in a quarter of a second or something like that, or 1 minute, not more. And they take each time the right tool. And that is important for the job site after, because you have less stresses on your tool, and that is very important.
Thank you very much, Philippe. On the topic of couplers, I will leave it aside because that's for another guide. But we have, something interesting is that it's on the table. The discussion to have a European standard for the couplers is the EN 474, if I'm not mistaken. The 474 is really the debate of if we can create a quick couplers standard. So that's something that will be interesting for the working group on the other guide. Let's come back to this one. You know, it seems like every 3 years when we go to Munich, to Bauma, like something big has happened and there's changes and there's no products and there's no things there. But, you know, innovation has a limit. Right? So what do you expect, or what can we expect other than the change of date that already happened? It's not going to be in April, it's going to be in October. hopefully, fingers crossed. So when we see next year in Munich, what would be the big things coming up?
Okay, every manufacturer wants to know what will do the other, I would say, the direction, of course. But I'll be sure we will see machine sure with battery, of course. It comes more and more with fuel cells, with hydrogen. Something will come in the direction, we think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when it comes to attachment, of course, I also hope that we will have Bauma next year. Even so, it's becoming then more an Oktoberfest, you can say. So, so we will see how that works out. But no, I think in terms of attachments, I think it's more like versatile attachments, also to be really efficient in specific challenges, but also things towards connectivity will be brought to a next level. I think that is what I basically expect to see more at Bauma, and of course the next Baumas, of course, as well. But connectivity, I think, and also more versatility, more specialized attachments to be more efficient.
Okay, so I send the question back to Patrick as contractor on this roundtable. What would you expect? What do you think that we are missing or that we need to see evolution when it comes to the equipment that we use for mechanical demolition? If you could write your wish list, what would be on the top?
My wish list. Probably, new energies, cleaner energies, maybe hydrogen, like Philippe said, probably, or optimization also, how to help more and more the operator, and ergonomics, in the cockpit. I think that's probably one thing that we expect, and even on the getting in and out in the cockpit. Well, there's probably some things to be thought of here. Deported commands or remote control. I think that'll come more and more in order, for safety and demolition, and not to expose the people inside the equipment. Probably cameras and LIDARs, are artificial intelligence to help. Is still talking about safety, like hazard warnings, detection of collision or cavities. Cavities or unstable ground. Maybe detection of utilities, pipes or networks, cables. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to be think of. Yeah, my wish list anyway.
Well, it's not a small one, but that's good. That's good. That's good, Patrick. So on the last year, we had quite a significant change in the topic of engine. Because of COVID, we had some extra time for stage 4 to kind of survive over there, and before we went into a new stage for the emission engines and so on. So do you think this is going to be a major driver when it comes to the next Bauma edition, to the next, I don't know if it is Bauma or any other trade fair, that this is going to be one of the big things, the new engines, hybrid, you mentioned hydrogen and so on?
That's the question. We are by stage 5 at this moment. It's not clear when the stage 6 will come or something like that. Okay, sometimes we have to be careful because you cannot find everywhere electricity or something you need. We speak by the French Demolition Association one time, if we have to bring electrical machine on the job site, but sometimes you have just a job for 2 or 3 days on the job site, and then you need to have a generator or something like this to get the current or the right pieces you need. That's sometimes could be complicated. Not for having the machine with an electric driven motor, but much more for all what is around the machine.
Thank you, Philippe. Patrick, do you want to mention something before?
No, I'm sorry. No.
That's okay. Okay, let's talk a little bit about attachments. We have come a long way. If people that have been in the industry for a little while, you saw that we came from pulling with the cable or just using a bucket to push material to the wide variety of attachments that we have today. first, how do you see the evolution of the attachments industry, and what do you think is going to continue to happen? Maybe Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, you said it. There are various methods. The typical style wrecking ball approach, of course. But when it comes to attachments, of course, decades ago there was the breaker, which was the all-rounder, and then, of course, yeah, depending on certain regulations, which make sense, of course, noise, vibration. But also the age of the building, or let's say the building stock changed. I mean, 40 years ago, something else was demolished like nowadays. So that we see down the road more like further developments of a breaker, but not on the breaker as such, but different attachment, drum cutters, pulverizers to do different work. Of course, we would love to have also the one single tool that does everything in a perfect way. We're continuously working on that, of course. But let's say the efficiency increase, and the versatility is very much increasing. To see really to encounter a certain job with a specific tool to be as efficient and productive as possible.
So when we talk about the attachments, Philippe, is not only the effectivity of those attachments, how efficient they are, but in the side of the manufacturer of carriers, you have to do your own innovation for the carrier and the innovation to provide everything that the attachment is requiring. So how do you see this, the evolution of the equipment for demolition and recycling through the years?
Okay, through the years we see more. Okay, we are not so much. We didn't produce so many tools. I would say we only have sorting grapple in our company, what we produce. But what we see on the market by pulverizer or crusher, and also that the suppliers, the manufacturers try to do them more compact, less weight, but more forces. Because when the building we are to demolish today have the concrete which is stronger than before, and that's what we see. They want more weight, not so weight, because you have always to go higher and higher with the demolition, but you want more forces. That's what we remark on the market. This is the idea from the attachment for the people which do this. I think that's what they try to do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Philippe. And Patrick, for you, maybe, we talk about so many attachments, so many carriers, but at the end, the budget is limited. You have to choose what to buy. So yeah. What are your buying criteria when it comes to okay, I need equipment for productivity, something that is as useful as I can for the type of job that I do. So from your side, what are your tips, or how do you decide which equipment to focus?
Well, for a long time, the equipment would have to fit the carrier. Today, more and more manufacturers of carriers are being careful to fit the equipment that you need to work with. So that's a big improvement. Today, you have dedicated machines for demolitions, which you didn't really have in the past. Well, when demolition started, anyway, and the new materials that are being used and the electronics that's being used in carriers today or in equipment, it makes it possible for us to do more and more. So as a choice, of course, there's two things, dedicated machines on specific jobs, will be the answer, for certain jobs. But yet in Europe, we're really working on versatility and do as much as you can with less and less, actually. And what I was saying a while ago also is be sure that you can switch with the machines and equipment and long arms, beams, have a great versatility in the equipment and carriers. I think that's the key.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for your feedback. I'm going to share. I have a lot of questions here, but I'm going to share some of the questions from the audience. The efficiency should go, when we speak about attachments, in the way to control the performance of those attachments. they mentioned a system that you have, Gordon, the HATCOM, which controls the power remotely. Is this something that is useful to the contractor, or what is, to put it in another way, what is the market asking for?
No, I think of course we see, as I said, connectivity is a thing to control the things on a remote, from a remote area, but then also, like Patrick said, automation, more automized processes, and we went one step in this one to say, okay, start with locations, control the machine, see what the machine is doing, or the attachment is doing. But then also think about geofencing in terms of theft, in terms of, but also at the later stage to adopt really the attachment to the environment, and by that make it more productive and more efficient.
Okay, you touched one topic that actually is very relevant: automation. When we talk about automation on demolition equipment or demolition and recycling equipment, do you want to see, Patrick, as contractor, attachment that is providing its own data, carrier that is providing its own data? You want everything together? How, as a contractor, once again, going back to the topic of wish list, how do you want that data about maintenance or, productivity, whatever, going back to you? How would you envision that?
Well, of course, it all depends on what data you're talking about. It can be useful, of course, for the people who for the maintenance, or working on the tools, or it can be data that's going to be used in order to see what kind of how much work you've done in a day, and how much that work is going to cost you, in order to bid and to be just as close as you can to what the demolition will really cost. It can also be data that will be used by the driver, on what he's doing and how to improve what he's doing. So yeah, of course, all this needs to talk together and to each other, and maybe a common language, yes, would be very interesting. And right now, when you have a multi-brand park, you really have to almost earn your own data, so, and not really being able to use the manufacturer's data. So that would, on my wish list, it would be something that everybody could talk together and wish with each other the same language. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. Really good one. I think a lot of people will support you on that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Totally understandable.
Any comments on this, Philippe? You think this is going to happen? All machines are going to talk the same language at some point?
We are trying to bring on the market, and we have done this already, that the tools speak with the machine, and you can find that not only by us but the other supplier. You have some chips on the tool, and the chips recognize automatically, give automatically the flow, the pressure on the machine. You can also check if you have the right oil in the tool against the oil in the machine. You can stop the movement if this doesn't match. You can have also then directly the hour what you have working with this tool, and not only an hour of the machine which is working or something. This is on the market. Of course, it's not so present, but this will come. We think that such thing will come because people are more and more interested to know when I have to change my tool, when I have to change something on the tool, some service or something that comes more and more on the machine or on the tool. That's clear.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments, Philippe. When we talk about, let's talk a little bit about carriers. When we talk about demolition carriers, it's easy to focus on the high-reach machines. They are really impressive, just how big they are, how impressive the work they do, and so on. But let's talk about the day-to-day operations. How many operations are done with high-reach? How many operations are done with the smaller equipment? How is the penetration of a specialized equipment, especially the remote control, or sometimes called demolition robots, smaller excavators, electric with remote control? So, how do you see the distribution of the market, either to you, Philippe, and also to Patrick?
I would say it's a little complicated to answer this question, because I think in each country it will be different. That's the problem. When we compare France and Germany, it's approximately the same. Up to 4th floor level, you can see a machine with a high reach. Under 4 or 5 floor level, you have then a machine with a straight boom or something like this, and a bigger tool, of course. But there are no, I would say no, like the CCE, you have nothing for demolition machine for high reach, when you know each year how many have been sold worldwide or Europe-wide. And that's, I would say that's complicated. And always it depends the customer. If he don't have this machine, he will try another solution. He will build a small mountain. He wins 2 or 3 floor level. And that's complicated to answer this question.
How about you, Patrick? How do you see this? How is the distribution of the market? I mean, the French Association, for instance, we're talking about CEDRE, has a diverse membership, many types of members from many different regions. How do you see, a lot of high reaches, increasing penetration of a smaller demolition equipment? What do you think?
Well, high reach today is I'd say it's a pretty small portion of what we do, of what we need. I mean, of course we need some, and especially when you work in inside the towns, for building high reach buildings and stuff. But when you're talking industrial, of course you need to go high, but maybe not as high, and you need to bring up maybe less high, but a lot heavier. So I think, once again, the visibility of the machine is going to have to be great. It's going to have to go pretty high with the small equipment, or maybe less high, but with the very bigger equipment. And I don't know, maybe 5-10% of the work is done with high reach machines. Well, that's in our side, I mean. Some people are more specialized with the high reach machines because they do a lot more urban works than industrial works, but that's the way we do.
Thank you. Of course, you give your own perspective, which is really good. Thank you, Patrick. From the side of the attachments, Gordon, kind of the same question. How do you see the distribution of attachments? I guess everybody starts with the hammer somehow, and then everything else. But what is the progression? They go to the combi crusher, or how is the thing?
No, of course. I mean, there's also, like Philippe said, of course, it depends a little bit from market to market. But like you said, a very good start is the breaker. As the all-rounder could be used for several things. But of course, we see then more like multiprocessors or cutters coming up. Also, then for the secondary, the separation of reinforcements like bulk pulverizers, so basically like the crook fix pulverizers. But then you have other companies that are just using demolition pulverizers to combine it a little bit. We also see step by step more drum cutters into like foundation demolition, because of course the foundation is tricky to attack with a cutter. So with a regular cutter, but then hammer might have a bad negative influence on vibration and of course noise. So we see whenever possible that we see also more drum cutters going into this, especially for concrete foundations. So it's becoming a mix. I mean, the hammer is still there, I always say. But I think it goes more towards other, let's say, non-impact related attachments to really see that, and that every fleet owner or every company has basically a little bit their own philosophy in this one, but it's getting more towards like cutters, pulverizers, drum cutters, so a little bit away from the breakers, especially in the urban areas, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much for your feedback. Philippe, do you have any comments on that? The diversity of attachments from the perspective of the user.
It's always, we try always to give much more attachment or much to the carrier or equipment, how to say. Okay, because you have what say Patrick before, you have high reach machine, but you go also to have some earth moving job or for putting away the foundation of the building. Also, this you need huge forces sometime, or you need the crier to have a big shear, and that's what we try to do. Of course, after some customer wants other automation like multi-user attachment, so they can take the machine for more job.
Okay, thank you very much, Philippe. We have Peter on the audience, Peter Lam. I mentioned him before, and he's thanking for the tips that you gave him, and also he made a comment that is specifically addressed to you, Patrick. It would be unusual if we didn't have a question about COVID. Huh? How do you see the effect of COVID in everybody that can work from remotely from office at your house or from a location that is not traveling so much on the demolition activities? Will urbanization stop? Will demolition of certain buildings stop, or will just continue business as usual? Or it's too early to know?
So we continue business. I think the hardest part is for clients to continue investing and to continue giving us the work. Once we have the work, the site, the demolition site, then we continue. Maybe not as before, because of course we have to take care of our employees, and so there's lots of things that are being done, on regulations, on rules, and on safety, on health, on our sites, of course, like anyone else. But pretty much we're working pretty good, as long as we have the job to do. Thank you, Peter.
So we are reaching out the end of this webinar, and before I send it back to you and maybe ask you for some final comments or some final remarks, I want to mention that these three guides, the carriers, attachments, and the couplers, which is into production right now, I mean the working group is active right now, are more from the perspective of the manufacturer towards the user. But we also have another guide coming up, which actually is a working group active, about the end of life of industrial facilities. Is to talk a little bit towards the customer from the perspective of the contractor, how to approach and so on. Do you, as manufacturers of equipment, either Gordon or Philippe, want to mention something for that? You want to, hey, please pay attention to this on industrial, about this kind of equipment or whatever, or do you have any thoughts or any comments on that?
No, I think in general I like the idea to also of course to learn more from the contractor side. I mean, we can never learn enough from on a manufacturing side, and if there of course is material available, how they select, how they approach such a building, that helps us, because I mean, in general, it helps us anyway, everybody, when we talk to each other, I mean, that is the key. And the better we have, of course, on both sides, the understanding of the needs, requirements, especially of the contractor needs, I mean, the better it is for the whole service that we can provide as a manufacturer, but also for the whole industry, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
That's right, because what says Gordon, I said this before, I mentioned it before, it's better when the contractor come and speak with us. We manufacturer can always have ideas, say, okay, that's a good idea. I can bring this on the market for the contractor, because if they have a problem, we try to lose the problems they have, and it's always a discussion between the two. Nobody can stay alone on his side, fine, I'm the best. I can do everything. The other has to take what I do. No, it's not this way. We see the market. We have to speak together to bring the product. We see over the last year the suppressor system comes more and more from the supplier. You see Arden with the Arden Jet. We have our solutions. The other competitor has a solution. That's come to help the people who have the on job side. That's clear.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to close this webinar, I will ask you some final remarks, final comments, any of you, and also your farewell words. So feel free.
Well, it was a pleasure, I would say, to have this webinar today, and also a pleasure to make the guide, because it was always a discussion between many people. We are, of course, we are competitors, but everybody knows him. Not at this time because they are not so fair today, but we have seen us on the webcam, I would say. Thank you.
No, I think I appreciate all the initiative done by the EDA. I think this session was good today, and as I said, with what I said previously, the more we talk, the better. So therefore, the whole thing is appreciated. Of course, I hope everybody will stay healthy, and that we finally can meet each other once again on a fairground with some equipment on these or on job sites more. That would be my, let's say, short-term wish from my side. Thank you, Gordon. Patrick?
Yeah, well, everything's been said, and really, yeah, we're really looking forward to see each other again, and to be in presential again, and have meetings like we used to, and not only see each other, well, with cameras and speak to each other, but at least it is great to be able to see everyone, and to have these virtual meetings, even if they're virtual.
Thank you. Well,
so thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for being available. The three of you, Gilles, who also intervened before, and thank you to our audience for participating, for sharing comments, and we're seeing a lot of people accessing the guides already. So if you find any typos, anything that you think we can improve, it's still a little bit of time before they go to print. The first edition is going to go to print next week. So if you find anything, please let us know, drop us an email. And then, as Gilles mentioned before, and also Gordon, the translations to other languages are coming. So thank you to our panelists, thank you to our audience, and we'll see you around.